Welcome back to Blunt in the Bedroom. I'm here with Aurelie. My name is Patty, and we are recording from the cozy comfort of each of our bedrooms in the wildly wonderful legal cannabis state of Oregon. We're going to have a blunt and be blunt. Maybe not blunt enough, maybe too blunt. You decide. Tonight, we're exploring a local teachers' union bargaining platform and the idea of common good bargaining.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. So have you been having your blunt already tonight?
Yes.
Me too. See, we just show up high. It's fine.
I didn't expect to get as high as I did. It was only like 2 or 3 hits, but yeah.
YOLO. I was realizing a big part of this podcast is that we kind of talk about shit we don't know anything about.
I think it makes us relatable though.
I do too. That's kind of what I was gonna say too. Yeah, right. It's like we don't actually know shit. Well, but here's the okay. We don't have credentials. We don't necessarily have letters after our names in different topics. But what we do have is an interest in a great many things and a lot of feelings. And I think as we take this into the next level, if we're doing things like actually looking up real data and trying to understand things, I mean, it's a good example of what the everyday person can do. Because how the fuck is every person supposed to understand all the things about everything? I really am prepared for tonight. I really am. That's what we don't do. We don't do like a witchy arriving. We should do a witchy arriving.
We should.
Okay.
To push all the other nonsense out of our heads and we can focus on.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what's kind of weird? I've been reading a lot of lesbian romance erotica books. And for some reason, ever since I started reading them, mind you, these are also books where the characters are mature, like women in their like late 30s. It's not like little kids or whatever. So, I mean, most of the time these books are like 18, so anyway, but for some reason, ever since I've been reading that, I've been like calmer overall. Like I just walk around more chill.
Whoa.
Right? That's weird because there's no reason for it. But even just now, I would have felt anxiety, but I'm chill.
Oh, excellent. All you needed was the memory of your lesbian romance novels. Check. Chill.
Yeah. I see no reason to stop, so I'm probably gonna keep doing it for a while until I get another thing in my head. Maybe I'll go back to aliens. I do that all the time.
Totally, me too. Well, all right. So we want to talk about what the hell is going on here locally in Portland with the teachers union.
Yes.
Because they are maybe going to strike. Let's see, what's the timeline here?
So I just was reading about it. It was like, I think tomorrow through Thursday is going to be like a pre-negotiation type of situation. And if they don't come to the 100, according to the one source I saw, I forgot the name of the article, but according to this one source, if they don't come up with 100% of the like what they're trying to negotiate, like 100% of their demands, then they're gonna start striking on the 25th.
100, they're demanding 100% of the demands.
According to how I interpreted what I saw with my not very like person that understands these things a whole lot kind of brain, but that is what I read and how I interpreted it.
Okay. I don't know that I caught that bit. I think my interpretation of the whole set of the bargaining platform was a little overshadowed, though, when I got to a line that told me something that I knew and also hadn't like fully taken on board. And that is the notion that the schools are full of mice and or mold.
Mold.
Yes, it's on the list of demands. So when I read that, okay, hang on. I mean, I maybe could go through all these demands. It's kind of a lot of words. but I got to the heading safe and healthy schools, which sounds great, makes sense. That is the particular line that made it into all the articles I read. But when you actually go and look at the bargaining platform itself, it says under safe and healthy schools, maintain classroom temperatures above 60 degrees and below 90 degrees. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Below 90. These teachers have to bargain to teach in a room that's 89 fucking degrees? Is
Yeah.
that real? Okay,
That's
next one.
crazy.
Right? That means it has been above that.
Yeah.
That's what that
And
means.
below 60, which is that's
Uh-huh.
like that's pretty cold, you know.
That's pretty
Usually when
cold.
60 degrees, like you know, you get like you shiver and stuff. Like when I go camping, that's how much it gets overnight and it's freezing. So
My guess is this was made with the intention of having it not require that schools without air conditioning get air conditioning. And, you know, I can see a case being made for giving a little on that because air handling systems on those old buildings would be next to impossible. I mean, it'd be doable, but very, very expensive. And there's typically no one in the building for 3 months in the summer.
yeah.
So it would kind of make no sense. So I get it, but still 89 degrees and the kids are supposed to sit there and pay attention. Really? Anyway, then I got to the next line. One of the demands, buildings free of mice and mold. Well, friends, what does that mean? That means the buildings have mice and mold.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell me I'm reading too much into this, but I kind of don't think so. Is it all of
And
them?
mold
Probably
is
not.
like really serious. Like
Well,
mold
right.
is not like you like there's like brain issues that can come from being in a room for 8 hours a day in mold for the teachers and the students.
Right. Yeah. And I just still can't get over the fact that I couldn't find a single article that called that out. And I'm sure it exists. But by and large, the articles were talking about what their demands are. Now, granted, they weren't going into mass detail about everything, but like, holy fuck, if the teachers are telling you with their demands that there's mice in the schools, isn't that a story all on its own? Is that a story that I just missed? I don't know. I just think like, how are all the parents not joining in? Maybe there's more parents joining. See, I don't know shit. Maybe there's more parents joining in than I realize. But I'm like ready to shake everyone by their shoulders and be like, holy shit, did you realize there's mice and mold in the schools?
The only whenever I googled the demands that the Portland schools are like that they're making, all I saw was that they want to increase wages and smaller class sizes. That's all they showed. And from that perspective, like no, like I feel like it's intentional because when people see
Yeah.
that, like, oh, they're just asking for more money, they already get paid plenty, and you know, or whatever. Like I can see how that's happening, but if you leave out, especially if you leave out the mice thing, because then no one is. It's like it's all about what the teachers want and not what the kids need.
Yes. And what a great segue, because the rest of the platform, like, yes, of course, the teachers want their workplace to also be free of those things, but that's for the common good.
Yeah,
And so that's this idea that I came upon. Again, I'm a complete newbie to like unions and collective anything. I like was raised all like 100% against it. So I'm learning all of this fresh right now, right? But this idea of common good bargaining has me just like vibrating with electricity, because it's this idea that like you can make demands of your employer and they can go so much farther than just yourself and your money. And it's, oh my God, like that's how we do it. Well,
yeah,
I mean, there's 100 different things, 1,000 different things we have to do to make the world better, but that feels big to me.
yeah. And I think there's a big reason, and I wish that more people would open their eyes and just try. If you just start paying attention, you could see it. You could see why certain people are anti-union.
Yeah.
Like if you really think about it, why would an owner that can, like an owner of a company, why would he want his employees to have the power to like get together and get against them?
Well, obviously he wouldn't. That's why it's protected by law in so many
Yeah.
countries.
But
Yeah.
it just makes me crazy that so many people who aren't at the top position are against it. You know what I mean? Like the regular people, so to speak, that vote against unions.
I could be wrong about this, but I absolutely think that is a product of Reagan and his like welfare queens or however that thing
Mm-hmm.
was used, because there was this like pervasive idea in all these arenas of the people who are taking more than is their fair share or trying to scam the system. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they didn't say taking more than their fair share because that would make us all think of multimillionaires and billionaires, but whatever. It would be, right, the people who are scamming the system,
Yeah.
as if anything that anyone does to feed their family like is anywhere near the bullshit pulled by and the Enrons and such of the world. Like, fuck all the way off those people. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't think if
Yay,
you really pay
capitalism.
attention, we could see why it's designed that way, and then everybody can just agree to like open their eyes and see why the real scammers are the billionaires. I wouldn't
We are,
even say the millionaires that much because millions isn't even a lot anymore.
no, I agree. We are stuck behind three words. Everybody can just. That's the problem that you and I come up to all the time because it seems so clear to us and no bullshit of like how we could work together. Like, because maybe everybody feels this way of if they just ran the world according to what I say. I don't know. Do you think that's true?
I don't know.
I think our ideas should at least be in the mix,
Yes.
right? And I think how you do that is you like run for office and stuff. Woo.
People like us get assassinated very quickly. I think we need to think about that.
Sure, it's a good thing we have an outline because we are way. What are we? We just talked about our own assassinations, my friend.
This is why we're probably on the FBI watch list. Okay.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back. Okay, I'm looking at the 2023 bargaining platform here locally. There's something in there that says play-based curriculum and the right to nap. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
do they
Okay.
mean themselves or kids? I'm gonna guess
It
kids.
sounds like kids because they probably got rid of naps in classes or something like that. I don't know. Because I think they used to do it to an older age and now they don't as much. So I don't know. But I guess I mean, but if you're teaching a bunch of 5-year-olds and they're like playing all day, they're gonna need a nap or they're gonna be little hellions for the rest of
Right.
the day. So teachers are probably
Yeah.
like they need to lay down for an hour.
Right.
It
Because then
calms
you
them
get,
down.
yeah, you got to be with your thoughts.
Let your nervous system just kind of because you know when they're little and they're just like going and going and going and then like yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have one that's controversial, perhaps, maybe just to me. Under the heading Real Community Connections, it says district wide parent teacher home visit program in line with national standards. So your teacher has to come to your house?
Wait, can you read it again? I'm not
Yeah.
quite understanding. Where are you getting
District.
these?
It is on pdxteachers.org / bargaining vision. So yeah, district-wide parent-teacher home visit program in line with national standards. Mandatory home visits from your teacher.
Hmm.
I don't love that. But if there was a child in bad circumstances, I think I do want it known. But then are the circumstances a child could end up in worse? How do we do right by the babies? And also not make people feel like the police state comes in to check on you.
Yeah. That's a hard one because how do you do that?
Right. Because if I trusted that that entity had shared values with me, I probably would be okay with that, because it would feel like, hey, cursory check, like, hey, I want all the same things you want. So yeah, look, yay, I get an A. Whatever, they don't give A's anymore. But all of a sudden I don't trust it. Let's say it's right wing, let's say it's Christian nation bullshitness. And all of a sudden they're coming in and observing that there are things that look neo hippie instead of
Like my bookshelf. I literally have a sage little straw person. I have black candles. I have tobacco for my ancestors. I have just Florida water, a bunch of tarot cards. So I would get my baby taken away. Maybe, depending on who, I don't know.
I
And that
mean,
also, I mean, why should we expect the teachers to have to make the home visits anyway? That doesn't even sound safe. If a child's being abused, and should they be the ones that have to put themselves in that position? Shouldn't the police just believe them and go and handle it?
because I have thoughts about freedom and communism and things. But what, I have Voltaire quotes on my wall. What am I going to do? But then also think how bad that could be for communities of color or other oppressed groups. Like,
Yes.
I mean, fuck, who cares if I have people coming in wondering as sirens go off outside my window. Like, honestly, for me, who cares? Like, right, I'm white, whatever, middle-ish, affluent, something, who knows? So I got a bunch going for me that's going to give me a pass on probably a lot of things off the bat, because that's how this all works. So
yeah, I mean, I would absolutely. That's why I'm so against it, because I just don't think that we can trust that our society would be unbiased in something like that.
right.
I just don't. That child could just be a little disrespectful shit, and then that teacher might just be in a bad mood, and like it. I just feel like we can't trust it. We've like society has shown that we can't trust that kind of power.
Well, and then look how neatly that plays into the raising of a mental health industry.
Yeah.
Because while I think that's really important, and I'm glad we're figuring things out, to make it seem like it's this protected information of how we work through things seems ridiculous to me. Like, I just don't think there's not a reason that a bunch of that could be open source, so to speak. Right. But here it's going to make a lot of money if it's all kept really like on the professional level. Right. Which I don't know how to feel about it. I guess I'm of two minds about it. I could see it going either way. But anytime there's that much money involved, I just feel like there's so much potential for that to be exploited.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely one of those that I would want to be in their whatever meetings they have where people get to speak and all that stuff. I would want to be there and listen to what everyone is saying, their reasonings for it, specifically the teachers, so that I can have like a real opinion. Because I just feel like I'm too far back in that whole world to really be able to see and understand. Because right now, I can't imagine why any teacher would want to do that.
Yeah, that's a controversial one on the list, if you ask me. Wow, that one gives me lots of pause. But there's a whole bunch of other things in here that I feel like are common good bargaining worthy. Oh, yeah. Okay, here's one under the special education services. They've got transparency for and accountability to students and families receiving special education services. It's not, there's been so many cases of special needs kids being, like practically thrown in a closet and okay, we took care of them for the day.
That's what it was like when I was a kid in school. Special ed, it was just one room for basically all the problem children, because it wasn't even like there were kids coming with like severe autism or anything like that. But now in my kids' school, and I think this is true in all of Oregon, I'm not sure, but they're all integrated in there. And everyone is aware because they have their own like teacher's aide with that, which the students, because they need individualized attention. So
right.
It's not like no one's aware, like everybody, but it's just like so normal. Like they don't even like, get bullied, it's just like these are other kids in the class.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, so that one I don't think does anything necessarily for the teachers, because what they're asking for is transparency for the students and families that are getting those special education services. So my guess is that there was records being kept of the students that weren't being shared with the family. And my guess
Oh,
that that is in there to serve those families. So that doesn't really help the teachers. It probably makes their job harder and maybe a little more like personally political,
yeah.
because it is for the common good. And it's definitely stepping outside of, just bettering their situation.
Resilience Fund to help families in crisis.
Yeah. I mean, let's just break the rest of the system and make our whole world a resilience fund of humans who care about each other. But
Yeah.
yeah, there
I
there we go
remember
with our
when I
everyone should
was
just.
I remember when I was working as a contact tracer, when I was helping people get resources that had COVID, I used to have teachers like I don't remember her name right now, which surprises me because she called so often. But there was always a family. Like, it was a counselor at a school that knew of a family that was having a really hard time because somebody got COVID and they couldn't pay rent. And can we help? Like it happened all the time. So they care, but it's hard not to, right? Like you like talk with these families, like you meet these people.
I know. How do you not? I mean, it's like, and you would help everyone if you could, but there's not enough in your bank account to do it either.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we've got people hoarding billions of dollars,
Yes.
billions of ones and zeros that somehow belong to them and mean they have more power in this world than everyone else. Really? That's what we're doing? See, I'm done with this game. I'm so done with this game. I don't want to play it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm ready to move to just like a cabin on a beach and just be away from people and just Moana it, you know, just be
Just
out there,
Moana it.
just away from, just be a voyager. I'm talking crazy, but for real, I'm
Hey,
over the whole thing. And now this is a super tangent, so we shouldn't follow it, but now possibly it's gonna be World War III because of this whole Israel Palestine thing. like it's like why are we sitting here
wah,
waiting for this?
wah, wah. It's been fun though.
Oh boy. Oh my
Uh-huh.
goodness. I think I'm having a panic or anxiety attack.
Face it. Let's just face it. Because you know what? If it doesn't all, then it's just like double bonus. See?
Oh my gosh.
It's a good
Yeah.
thing we have that outline. It seems that I don't see things the same way that other people see things.
Yeah.
I guess I like challenging people a little bit.
And we should because people are too fragile right now. Like the fact that so many people want to just like do things because it's what makes them the most comfortable, that things that kill people and hurt other people and like is collectively wrong for like most people. And
Right.
but they want to like avoid the obvious right decision because it makes them uncomfortable.
Or it goes against a thing that they've been conditioned to think.
Exactly. And that's discomfort,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. I mean, or like an internal conflict kind of thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
When you're seeing reality that's like not matching all the things you were told about it.
And then you
Yikes.
start feeling attacked. That's fragility. The lady that wrote White Fragility, I saw an interview with her where she explained it. So I haven't read the book, but like she explained what she meant by it. So I started thinking, of course, as I tend to do, about all the other ways that that same concept can be applied, and it's all over.
It's all over. Aurelia, you
First
were
world
so right.
fragility, healthy kid fragility. Like, I mean, this is crazy to me. Like, well, the amount of people that like felt like strongly about me letting my child be vegetarian because obviously I was only doing that to make them feel bad about doing something different. That's
Yes.
fragility. And for what? Like it doesn't make sense. It made them uncomfortable. I have
Yes.
never cared about anybody else giving their kid meat. Do what you want. As long as it's not an endangered species, whatever, you know? And the same thing with homeschooling, like just so much stuff because people can't handle it.
Well, and that whole idea of fragility, it's like, why and how did we make a competition out of our circumstances? Because all the things we're fragile about, there are ways of behaving that we arrived at really naturally, and we did them all with our best intention forward, most likely. And so to attack each other about those things is ridiculous. Those things are done. All we can
And
do is
it's
like,
so designed that way.
yeah, we learn the most when things go wrong, right?
Wait a minute.
What?
Restore retirement contributions.
Are you serious?
It's on here on the
As
bottom where
in
it says competitive salaries.
they took away
Like
contributions
401ks.
for teachers. It's like TIA CREF, TIAA-CREF. But that means that they had taken away like the match or something.
Yeah, but that's the yeah. So that's how I see it. The retirement contributions, because
Uh-huh.
that's what I have too. I have TIAA from my old job for my
Oh,
401k. So and they contributed a certain percentage. They matched 15% or something. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but it was like whatever. They had the employee match a certain amount. So did they take that away from teachers? I wasn't even in a union.
wow. They probably didn't take it away, but my guess is they stopped matching
Well,
or
that's the whole
something.
point of it, though. That's what
Well,
that is
or
the only benefit of a 401k.
oh, that's a good point.
Otherwise, you can just open your own investment, like your own Roth IRA.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was in the law that employees. Well, I guess not. But I think even at Walmart they had it. After you've been working there a certain amount.
It's wild to me that with this whole page full of everything, you probably need a whole page for each of the items to really understand what they mean or
I
to
mean,
like
I'm like tempted to show up to one of these hearings or whatever they call it.
yeah, restore retirement contributions. I mean, fuck.
Guaranteed private workspaces for all mental health providers.
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
now they probably just have to find an empty classroom or something.
In my kids' school, they've got both counselors have a closed door office.
Yeah. I've always seen that to be the case, but maybe it's some schools is just not, they don't have the space for it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I noticed this one under more teaching, less testing says more assessments created by educators to guide student learning. So kind of making more work for themselves to do better for their students, because that tells me they understand as well as any parent that the standardized testing is not really going to be a gauge of how they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how they're going to function in the real world, because sadly the real world doesn't really operate the way schools do. Weird.
I don't understand this one. Reduced over testing for multilingual students and in historically underserved schools. Over testing.
I wonder if it's schools that had over testing. Okay, yeah, actually, I don't know. I'm not even gonna talk because I don't know shit.
No
I wonder
standardized
if
tests before third grade. They have that?
I think they do now. I can't believe how much I'm hearing from my kid that there's testing going on or assessments going on at school. But it's because it gets purchased.
What?
Yeah, I mean the curriculum companies, they've got to sell tests. And then we need all these to make sure all the schools are being competitive, and it got too hard, they aren't quite learning it. Oh good, you need our new curriculum then. I'm sure that every person involved like has goodwill toward the students at heart, but I also think we've been building on like iterations of far too long that we like think things should be in the subject.
So I see one here that says increase security measures like doors that lock from the inside and blinds that close. That why isn't this already a thing with how many school shootings there are in this country? Like, of
Oh,
course they should have doors that lock from the inside and
oh, like the
blinds that
classrooms.
close. Yeah, for safety. That they should call a security measure. And then what if there's a creep outside the window? You should be able to close the blinds.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that does seem like pretty basic stuff. I just think it's really fucking sad that we have to have that precaution.
I actually, at one point, when my kid told me that she wants to do high school in person, I really started thinking about, well, even before that, because I just think it's something that should happen. But they have these certain like gadgets that doors that open, I think open inward, or so anyway, but they have the thing is you put it on the bottom and it's really easy to use, and you kind of lock it out, and then no one can open the door in or out. Like they just can't move the door, and it's something quick that a teacher could put if there's a school shooter situation. Because now they have like these, tricks that you can do with chairs and putting them a certain way. Like, I don't know, I feel like we should take some of the police budget that is supposed to help in these situations and take and put it there for that. I mean, it's only going to be like a little amount from what they get.
That makes so much sense.
I think those cost like $100 each, but it's not like you have to keep replacing them.
Right.
Like it's just a lock, like a big, like wide, thin, like, you know what I mean? It goes under
Yeah.
the door and just kind of like gets stuck there.
Yeah. Huh, it's probably like a doorstop except along the whole length or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And it kind of like claws out from on the sides of the doors.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me feel so gross, and it make that we have to consider that. And and I like have so much trouble getting myself past the idea that we should all just get into the streets and be like, fuck this, fix our problems instead of putting our kids in danger. But also how, like how this is not a quick fix, and that sucks so fucking much.
But they have ways that, like, whenever the people were doing the clipboard thing, trying to get people to sign petitions, I asked them questions about this, the ones that were doing the gun rights ones. And what they said is what they wanted to do is make it be the law that you have to report it if your gun goes missing. You have to, what else? There was like certain rules that were totally reasonable. Like it's not like you wouldn't be able to get a gun. You had to have like a 2-week cool down period between when you like file for the license and when you can get it. Like you can't just like walk in a store and get it. That was one of the things. It was things like that. At no point was it like we need to take all guns from everybody.
Right.
I mean, that's what I want, but
Right. I know we'll never get away with that. At least
no.
not.
I mean, in my town, I already have it planned out. I want to have a town that is all like self-sustaining or whatever, and all the guns are going to be on the outside where everybody has to check them out if they want to go hunt. They check them out, do what they got to do, and then they come back, put it back in there. But in the town, no one's going to be walking around with it. Because I do think people should have the right to hunt for their food. Like I wouldn't do it. I'd rather be vegetarian than do that. But some people like it, and I don't have any problem with that. But I just don't see why anybody would have to walk around the town with a gun. For what? If no one has it, no one needs it.
And gun nuts would say if everyone has it, no one needs it.
Clearly,
no
that
one
can't
needs
be
to
true.
use it.
Because there's
True.
a lot of gun violence. So that can't be true. That's
Yeah.
people,
No,
like. Anyway, okay. Back to the topic at hand.
All good, all good. No, that was worth the rabbit hole, I think.
Yeah.
What did I call it? Not a rabbit hole. Hyperlinking. It was a good hyperlinking experience.
Yes.
Okay, I printed out this booklet from the Bargaining for Common Good. It's like an actual group. But they put together a whole list of concrete examples of bargaining for the common good. So I thought I would look through and just read a few to kind of get a sense of what that means and how different parts of society can support each other through this bargaining for the common good. Are you ready for me to move on to that part?
Mm-hmm.
So it's expanding the scope of bargaining beyond just wages and benefits. And a thing that you're trying to do in the campaign is identify, expose, and challenge the real bad actors. And you get community allies to like start developing it, centering racial justice in the demands, Oh, and they say the campaign doesn't end once the union settles its contract. So anyway, I think the important parts of that are the idea of the, it going beyond wages and benefits and like working with people in the community to do something in your demands that serves them and you. I guess that's how I would put what I've learned about it so far. Again, I am 3 or 4 days ago, I learned about this term. So that's where we're at. That is my level of expertise. I'm not claiming to know more. This one's kind of interesting. This is in Oregon even. It's in finance, under the finance. So it was called Hold Wall Street Accountable. From the Oregon State Employees Union. They said, we demand that the state investigate banks that have engaged in fraudulent practices and boycott them until the money lost is paid back. I don't know who that's to, but I mean, they're demanding like justice for at least themselves, if not other people. Okay, so what this is though, it's a list of various demands that have been in different groups bargainings. So like the things we just read from the Portland public school teachers.
Yeah.
And their list of demands, these are like demands from other bargaining from other groups around the country.
But what did that one say though?
Under the Oregon State Employees Union, it was their demand. Their demand was to hold Wall Street accountable. We demand that the state investigate banks that have engaged in fraudulent practices and boycott them until the money lost is paid back.
Okay, I see now.
So I think they're wanting the state itself to not work with those banks until they've made it right. So that's interesting. I guess I
support it.
Yeah. I'm looking for examples though that show how one group can include demands that greatly benefit more than just them. I think
they all sound like they do.
Right? Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Best example right here, also in Oregon, although there's plenty in here from everywhere in the country. This is the Oregon State Employees Union. Again, one of their demands is expand in-state tuition. We demand that the university grant in-state tuition for all graduates of state high schools, regardless of immigration status. What? And that's a state employee union having to ask for that. But they're doing it.
Yeah. Voices are being heard.
Yeah. And people are standing up for each other, which is something.
Yeah.
Oh, and this one, this was the Minnesota Property Services Union. One of their demands was remittances to Somalia. We demand that U.S. Bank restart remittances to Somalia, allowing its many Somali immigrant workers to send money to their families. What? That means they weren't letting them?
That's really sad.
Fucked up, dude.
I've heard this argument before from my own parent, that my father was getting mad at Haitian people because they would work in the Dominican Republic and then send the money back to Haiti to their families. And he was all complaining, like, that they're taking the money out of this country. And that was the first time I ever really had to check my dad. Because I was like, so all those properties that you bought in DR, that was not with American money? Like, because for sure, it was not. It was definitely American money. It was not Dominican money. I was like, this is something that all immigrants do everywhere, period, all the time. That's the point of coming here and being mistreated and having to work 30 hours a day and everything so that you can send money to your family. Like, that's like, so I don't know. I was so mad. Anyway, go ahead. Next one.
Wow. Calling dad out.
Yeah. Girls don't do that in my culture. It took him, like, he was really taken aback and didn't even respond. I mean, not that he could, because what could he possibly say? Like, the hypocrisy. I clearly was pointing it out right there in his face with no shame. So.
Well, and I mean, it's obvious that the only difference in that situation is class slash caste, like lenses. Oh, damn. I mean,
100% colorism bullshit. Like, yeah. And yes, I called it out and I will do it again. And that is not the first, I mean, that's the first time to my dad, but I have my brother-in-law is always saying crazy things. Like, he's so colorist that I've had to check him so many times, like yelling at him because he's such an idiot. Yeah. I think that's
well,
important. It's calling out our families.
I agree. Oh my God. Okay, the Oregon State Employees Union. Now, granted, this is the local 503, so I'm guessing that's the right here in Portland union. So all of these sort of make sense for them, to be honest.
This is a
Well,
general union, not the teachers union, right?
right. This is saying it's state employees. So, okay, so this one is, we demand that the state make mass transit passes available for purchase at pre-tax rates for employees and residents. So they're clearly trying to make things better for everyone with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think all buses should be free, but I'm a communist, so should I strike that from the record? I said we'd be blunt.
Yeah. But this is the internet.
I'm
Well, I
starting
don't
to
think
learn
we're
about,
saying anything illegal. I mean, what's legal today could be illegal tomorrow.
that's true. And the
We should
internet is
probably,
forever, as they say.
yeah. I
I
really
mean,
believe
then
that
you,
that we're in some sort of FBI watch list or something like some sort of, I don't know. Somebody's listening to us.
I'm okay with it. I mean, what am I going to do? If I hide it, I'm not going to make change. But it's true, I probably don't want to get thrown in the slammer. Nobody's going to throw me in the slammer because of all the aforementioned, like, white middle classness. They're going to be like, oh, isn't that cute? She thinks she can change the world. See, I have to keep it sounding just crazy enough that they'll be like, oh, no, okay, whatever, whatever. But people who are ready for it will hear the truth. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some good stony talk. Okay, I got a couple more. They're climate based. So the Florida, of all things, the Florida Public Services Union says, we demand that the city and state stop providing subsidies to companies that rely on fossil fuels as a core component of their business model. Damn,
Yes. I
right?
love that. I fully support that 100%.
I mean, that feels so powerful to me that unions can demand things like that. Like, I don't know how much they get it, but it's at least a statement to lawmakers. But I also think lawmakers are fully able to ignore us completely if they want to. So, I'm prepared for next level if we need it. But this does seem like it could be powerful.
Well, yeah, it's the start. And then people
Yeah,
start paying attention. I mean, and nowadays, if something gets enough attention, everybody gets involved. I mean, have you seen everything that's going on with the Israel Palestine thing of how many people are out in the streets all over the world in support of Palestinians? Jewish people, a lot of Jewish people,
well,
like
yeah,
thousands of Jewish people were in New York protesting against the what Israel's doing to what the Israeli government is doing to the Palestinians.
right,
People are
absolutely.
hearing it now. I mean, this should have happened a long time ago. Obviously, this has been going on for a long time, but like now people are really like, okay, like doing something about this. And now
And
they
maybe,
can't ignore it because there's enough of us.
right, let's maybe not put millions of people in open air prisons from now on.
Well, it's a genocide. It's
Yeah.
not just a prison because they're giving them a certain like a short amount of time to leave, but there's where can they go? There's nowhere for them to go.
But
So
it's been an open air prison for
yeah,
decades, which is why you have Hamas. I mean, wake up, people. If you mistreat people for generations, hello, someone's going to be like, well, fuck this, and try to do something about it and do horrible stuff. And that's what they did. It's the natural consequence of treating people that way, if you ask me.
I mean, I just find it to be so crazy that, and well, okay, I don't find it crazy. I know why no one is pointing this out, and I'm going to say a really controversial thing, and it's probably going to sound fucked up, but
Awesome.
this isn't that different from what Hitler was doing. Like they're doing, like Israel was doing that to others.
It's just a little better hidden under the guise of war.
I don't even know if it's a guy. I think it's the armor that they have. Anybody says anything against Israel or Jewish people, it's like you're anti-Semitic and you know all these like crazy, like just not crazy, but it's an armor that they've always had. Like no one can say anything about what Israel's doing because then we're gonna be anti-Semitic.
What the fuck?
It's yeah, it's pretty fucked up. And so everyone's just like kind of pretending that they don't see that this is what Hitler did.
Right.
We should probably cut this part out though. I don't want to be.
I said we were going to be blunt, really.
All right. You edit how you see fit. But
We didn't say the N word.
gonna piss off some people, I'm sure. But I think I had a good point.
I think you did too. Right? We didn't say the N word, the one that ends in Yahoo. So we're okay, I think, for getting picked up by the AI.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think that we're being watched or listened to. We're in
I
a
can
file
promise you,
somebody's desk.
I've seen the Spotify account and we're not being listened to. Well then,
Or
may I?
maybe we are, and they're just messing with the numbers so that we can shut up because we think no one's listening.
Yes, I choose to believe that. You know, I've had that thought sometimes too, but I'm like,
Yeah, it's a long shot. Yeah. I mean, no one
okay,
knows
well,
we're here. We're not
well,
marketing.
we're working on that. Yeah, so I just wanted to give one more example of this whole idea of bargaining for the common good. So this one's out of Canada, and it has to do with transit. It says, we demand that the Canada Post, so their mail, transition the fleet to 100% renewable energy and retrofit Canada Post buildings for energy efficiency. And that was the Canadian Postal Workers Union. So, I mean, that makes things better for them, but also that's like good for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, I mean the planet is like it's so it just doesn't make sense how little we're actually doing about it whenever we have the technology. It's not even like the technology isn't already out there. We're not even asking for them to like come up with a miracle. The solutions are already out there. So the fact that we still aren't doing everything we possibly can to fix it is crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
and it's because the new solutions aren't refined enough to turn the massive profit that they're used to.
Yeah.
And so, because a corporation, by its very legality, as far as I know, I'm a noob, I don't know all this stuff, but as I understand it, if it has the corporation legal designation, its job is to make money that year and to make more money next year, like legally required to do that. And when that's
They're
your
not
requirement,
legally required to share those extra profits with the little people to let it actually trickle down. Because
right,
if there is more profit, then shouldn't everyone be making more money? So to not
right.
do that when you have the money because you're making extra money. So when you have the money to do it, and you don't do it, then it's wait, where was I going with that? Shit. I hate when I lose my train of thought in the middle of a sentence.
Sorry.
I don't remember.
If you think of it again, stop me.
Okay.
But I mean, think about if that requirement is in place for each business to make more this year than it did last year, that means they're raising prices. That means they're trying to do the same job with fewer people. That means they're using lesser quality ingredients because there just isn't, there's too much going on in the world. There's not like more organic ways to grow your business. if it's not working that way, if you're not getting that much growth every year, those are the things you do to inflate your profits, to do the thing you're supposed to do as a business owner. And that's terrible for the rest of everyone. What if businesses were judged based on the good they do for the people in the community and the people they employ? They used to be, I
Well, this
think.
is why I'm a Marxist.
Is that me MAGA-ing out, like thinking the good old days were something? I mean, there was a lot wrong with them.
With who?
With the good old days, like the 50s, when
Yeah,
money somehow made sense for white Americans, or
yeah.
at least it seems like it did. Like one income could, you know, have a family with one parent able to be home, and like maybe even a cottage and a family vacation. I mean, obviously, they didn't have all the crazy shit we have now, but there was like a different level of something going on.
Yeah,
Maybe it
well,
was all false.
I think that it was easier to do that because they paid so many people almost nothing.
Mm, mm. Thank you. Yes, that's what I needed to hear. So why can't we be like, well, we figured out how to make it really good for people and we did it. It was the white people that only that we did that for. But now we can automate things. If the people own the technology,
Exactly.
we win.
Exactly. The public should own the means of production.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think the worker should own the means of production. The public should own the means of whatever communication technology-ness. Like it's a simple thing to piece out. I mean, what does that work into? Is it citizen councils that rotate? Is it, I mean, I'm talking huge blow up and rebuild, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I still think the regional governments is the way to go, or something like it. You know, separate states or provinces or whatever you want to call them by watershed, and then some of them will be bigger. So you have to like the Mississippi River watershed is huge, so you know you might need to separate that a little bit more. But you do that, and then so it's not such a big government that has like so many different things everywhere. It doesn't make sense for us to have this huge government. But you see, now I'm talking about small government, and I feel like it could trigger some people thinking I'm Republican. I'm definitely not.
Oh, Republicans aren't small government. That's some bullshit that they like to say.
Yeah,
They're just slash services, therefore small government. And they
yeah.
can fuck off with that.
Like small, like mentally small is how I think about it when with them, but the
Oh,
words are similar to what they use.
well, I mean, I get where you're going though with the regional government idea. Gosh, there was a phrase I heard, a narco syndicalist. I need to look up what that means, but it's something in the range of small-ish communities that can be more or less self-sufficient, but have fair practices for trade among different regions,
Yeah,
or, you know, and you could probably imagine that to be small villages, but I think given the size of our world and the speed of our communication and travel and stuff, it seems to me like your idea makes more sense of being more regional. Like, what would
yeah.
that be? A quarter or a third of the United States size, sort of at max. So like a
Well, for us,
cluster
it'd
of
be the
states.
Willamette Valley
Oh,
watershed.
that's small. Oh, you are thinking kind of small then. I guess I was thinking like the Colorado River and going, that's huge. But
Well, I mean, Texas is huge and Rhode
that's
Island is
true.
tiny.
Good point.
So, you
And
know,
water is life. So I think you solved it.
and the reason that I think that the watershed thing makes sense is because whatever you do in one part of the watershed, you have to consider it for your whole like little country or state, you know, or state or whatever, because it's going to affect it all. And then you grow there. We have plenty of technology to still trade things with. Maybe I don't know, Nebraska does wheat, and you know you share it that whatever. Like there's ways that like we don't have to all like completely cut off, but just like the way the laws are written, I think it would make more sense for it to be that small because it'd be more like tailored.
Right. But so you're not saying that we should like make the country into like, oh, I don't know, 12 or 13 districts.
Something like that, yes.
Oh, I was kind of joking. That was a Hunger Games reference.
Well, not those kind of districts. I was thinking more like how like the European Union kind of thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. No, I agree.
That's what I was thinking. Those, I mean, those are countries, but I don't think it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to
We
feel
got to
all
talking
that.
about communism, Marxism, socialism, like just all the trigger things all
Uh,
in one episode.
how, oh, really? How can those collection of things not be brought up when we're talking about the local teachers striking and they're striking for human rights to be honored in their schools? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we are
And some of the things they're asking for
in a
are
rough
so
place.
simple. A fan and to spray peppermint oil to get rid of mice. Like it's so, I mean, maybe not that simple, but you know what I mean? Like the stuff is not crazy, you know, demolish this building and create a whole new super modern thing.
Even though they really should in some of them.
I mean, my kid's school is pretty new and it is so nice. But not everyone can do that. So it's not like I get that that's not what we're demanding at the moment. But we could, and we shouldn't because that's wasteful. But you know,
Do we want to build big school buildings, or do we want to create racetracks and crafting junkyards for kids? Because that's kind of what I want to do. I mean, if we're headed for some like apocalyptic bullshit, knowing what to do with crafting with like old motors and stuff seems like valid skills, if you ask me. And
when
that's
I was
very
homeschooling, I that was how we did home ec. Like well, not that specifically because my husband would not let me mess with the car and the plumbing and all that stuff. So we just read about a lot of that stuff in a book, but learned about that stuff and not just cooking. Like we don't learn how
yeah.
to fix the toilet that's running, how to patch a hole in the wall. I mean, you know how excited I was that we learned how to build a fire that weekend that we went to the beach?
Awesome. Yeah, those are skills we should have.
I
Building
bought wood to
fires.
teach my kid how to do it in the backyard. I
Yeah,
haven't done it
I,
yet, but I bought the wood for it.
perfect. Well, yeah, making fire, knowing basic knife safety,
Mm-hmm.
how to find water in the woods. That seems important.
Yeah.
If you're ever going to be in the woods, like, yeah, maybe how to find water and how to build shelter and how to build a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Could survive the rest, probably.
It can at least be useful if there's an apocalypse.
Right. I know.
Because
See?
I mean, how useful will most of us be at this point? I mean, well, you do, you know, your nature stuff a lot, but I would just be a burden.
Oh, we're screwed, aren't we? I mean, but that's what are we supposed to do if we live in a city? That's how that is. Or
Yeah.
suburb, right? Like that is the life that we are prescribed. And
Yeah.
you have to like seriously go out of your way and have extra cash to think you're going to go and do like real things in the woods. And I
Yeah.
mean, even with the things we've done, we're nowhere near what would probably be required to actually survive for any length of time. I mean, we got a few parlor tricks, but
You ever watch those videos of the guy that would cook really fancy things in the woods? Well, I say fancy. He made like a calzone and like bakes bread and all that stuff in fire
oh,
in the
that's fun.
woods.
I've
It's
watched stuff
impressive.
like that. Yeah.
Like he makes the tomato sauce from scratch
What?
in
Okay,
the
then.
fire and his cast iron stuff in the fire in the woods. Supposedly, I mean, he could turn off the camera for a second and pour in a jar. I don't know, but he chops up the tomatoes and he fires them and whatever, and it's really cool. But there are some people that could really do stuff like that. I think I wish I knew how to do that stuff. At least maybe not all that. That's extra as hell. But I would at least like to know like what berries are edible and which aren't. At this point, I assume
Right.
everything is poisonous. I assume everything is poison ivy and everything has thorns, and every berry that I see is just gonna poison me for sure.
I mean, honestly, if you don't know, that's probably a better bet.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. That is survival instinct right there. See, you've got that going for you, so you're doing well.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight for Blunt in the Bedroom. This has been Patty and Aurelie giving you some of our rage and love.